Previously on Dual Spirit Adventures, I saw some wandering alpacas, rode through a field of quinoa plantation, got chased by some dogs, rode into the world's largest salt flats, which also happened to be the world's largest mirror, saw some Instagrammers, paid a visit to the Salt Hotel where it was illegal to lick walls. I held the Indian flag, saw a graveyard of cars, graveyard of trains, witnessed the golden hour, witnessed a lightning bolt. Then we entered the Altiplano, camped in the Altiplano. Then we headed straight towards the border of the penultimate country on this trip, Chile. Before we enter Chile, I have to talk about this border crossing between Bolivia and Chile. Situated at the Altiplano at about 13,000 feet above sea level, this makes it one of the highest border crossings in the world. Having stamped out of Bolivia, apart from the three of us and this train which was held at customs, there was nothing around us. Boy, was this place desolate. As with every other border, there was a stretch of no man's land between the two countries. It was clear we were still on the Bolivian side going by the road conditions. And it was immediately apparent when we entered the Chilean side, again going by the road conditions. It's very interesting how similar they are in a way they share their natural resources, and yet how different the two countries are in terms of infrastructure. The border crossing was very organized since the first time since the Canada-US border. Once in, Chile welcomed us with the most spectacular roads in terms of scenery I have ever been on. There are easily about 8 to 10 volcanoes along the road, and you guessed it right, it would be criminal not to break out the drone here. The montage you just watched took me from the high altiplano to this town called Calama in the Atacama Desert. This is pretty much where all the fun ended.
Se trata de un grupo de motoqueros proveniente de distintas partes del mundo y que sufrieron de un robo cuando se alistaban para comer algo en el mall de nuestra ciudad. Una situación que, si bien es anecdótica, lo cierto es que ha ocurrido otras veces en los estacionamientos de este centro comercial.
Yep, that's us in the Chilean national news. So how did we go from being in an empty desert to being on the national news, you ask? Oh, you're in for a story. As dreary as the altiplano was, not seeing another human being for 3 days, we were excited to be back to civilization again. We were excited to see a shopping mall. So excited, in fact, that we decided to treat ourselves with a Subway sandwich. While we were munching on a foot-long delight, destiny had other plans for us. At the mall parking lot, our stuff was stolen.
Chile, I already hate you for this.
All 3 helmets and jackets, my GoPro, my hydration pack, and worst of all, Justin had his passport in his jacket pocket. Gone. There were CCTV cameras around, but the mall corporate did not want to give the footage to us. And the police? Our problem was too trivial. So we took matters to our own hands. At first, I posted this all over social media, which apparently went viral among the Chilean biker community. The result of this? We were introduced to this legend of a man, Tito. Tito, a resident of Calama in active army service, came forward to help us find our stuff. In return, he took his payment in the form of beer. We started the following day by creating flyers which had pictures of our stolen goods, promised a reward of $200, no questions asked to anyone who could get our stuff back, and posted these all over the town. Next, Tito got along with his friend Patrick, who took us to the local flea market, hoping that our stuff would have somehow found its way here.
You talk with him or you talk with me only on the ear, nothing else.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
If you want to buy something, of course you tell me. Yeah? But if you find your things,
Yeah. Just don't say anything.
don't say anything, talk to me or talk to him and nothing else. Okay? We put the safe, the car in a safe place and we come back.
Okay.
We went through hundreds of these shops, but no luck. After that, Tito used his contacts to get us TV interviews. Which brings us to here.
Nosotros, yo pienso que no es importante para otras personas, es único, en realidad es mi pasaporte, en la chaqueta es un grande problema para mí. Ahora yo no viajar, no salir.
Being on TV was exciting momentarily, although we wished we weren't on TV, we wished our gear hadn't been stolen, we wished we weren't stuck in this annoying town because of this reason. While we waited patiently for things to play out, we visited a local respectable football club just to keep ourselves distracted. All thanks to Mr. Tito and his contacts again. Anyway, the news played its role quite evidently when the mall felt the pressure to give us some compensation for our loss, since we were defaming their brand. Hey, we'll take every single dollar that comes our way. A week rolls by, with my post going viral, to flyers all over the city, to being on the national news. Our stuff was now hot goods. The thieves wanted to get rid of them, but nobody would buy them. Except us. We wanted to buy our own stuff back for the price of $200. So the thieves used middlemen to contact us. We agreed on a meeting time and location. The thieves made it very clear that the police shouldn't be involved. At this point, we were afraid for our lives. especially considering that Chile was in the middle of a political revolution. More on that later. Before we headed out for the meeting, we took pictures of ourselves on how we looked, t-shirts, trousers, hats, etc., etc. Sent it to friends, shared our live location, and asked them to contact the police if they don't hear back from us in a few hours. Lucky for us, the middlemen we dealt with had a family around. The exchange happened via middlemen. We gave them $200 and they gave our stuff back. All of our helmets and jackets, except Justin's passport and my GoPro. Justin will now have to apply for a new passport in Santiago. But we had what we needed to get back on the road. Having spent a week burning time, money, and energy, we were finally ready to get the out of this town. Anyway, on our way out of Calama, we were in the heart of the Atacama Desert, the driest place on planet Earth. It was pretty evident from our surroundings how dry and desolate this place was. Northern Chile is dominated by this landscape. But don't be fooled by its dryness, because this place is rich in minerals like copper and lithium, as you can tell from the color palette from the mountains in the background. This place is rich in minerals and mining is pretty big here. It is not unusual to see a locomotive chugging alongside the road transporting mineral ore. Boy, do these locomotives do bring some life to an otherwise dead landscape. I didn't mind the dead landscape because I was coming up on my next milestone. After crossing the Arctic Circle, the Tropic of Cancer, the equator, I had now reached the Tropic of Capricorn. My face evidently reflects the hot temperature conditions that I was dealing with in this region, but it quickly changed as soon as I approached the sign. Anyway, riding further down, the next site of attraction was the Hand of the Desert. This place is quite literally a giant man-made hand sticking out of the desert floor. This hand symbolizes holding up the continent of South America. Other hand can be found on the eastern coast in Uruguay. Two hands on either side holding up a continent. You get the idea. Taking my drone out here would have been ideal, but windy conditions weren't favorable. What a shame. One good thing about riding in the middle of nowhere is that you could just pick a path and just ride on it. Like here, for instance, I was kinda hoping for Justin to tip his bike over so we could run to his rescue and create a dramatic YouTube video. But this isn't a scripted show, so it didn't happen. Anyway, I rolled up on the next item of my bucket list. Out there in the distance is the European Southern Observatory, or ESO. The telescopes in here were one of the contributors for humanity's first picture of a black hole. ESO also spearheads the search for intelligent life outside of our planet. Would have been cool to visit, but it required advanced bookings. Given the nature of my trip, advanced booking was not possible, and this is as far as I could go to my bucket list item. Oh well. And this place, although a desert, still has some places of interest, and it's not all boring. And the landscape, it's not bad at all, is it? We made it to the ocean side. The sun was low on the horizon. We needed accommodation for the night, so we wild camped, and the sun went down as we pitched our tents. Camping, no moon, in the middle of the Atacama desert, which has the darkest night sky in the world, I tried my hands on some astrophotography, which turned out well, I thought. Just being here and you lift up your head into the sky, you see the Milky Way across the night sky. Let your eyes adjust for a few minutes and you start to see the pitch black surroundings around you slowly lit by starlight. Just fantastic. No wonder every country which has a space program has an observatory here. Anyway, the following morning, me and Greg decided to jump into Argentina from Chile. Because we were told by the locals, the mountain pass between the two countries was a must. Since Justin had his passport stolen, Greg and I left him temporarily and went on towards Argentina. This is also where I would like to end my episode. Catch me next time on Dual Spirit Adventures.